Hello students, I am Manoj Kundare, the Assistant Professor of Electronic Science. Welcome back to our e-learning platform. In previous video, we have seen the structure of a typical memory and the internal architecture of a typical memory in memory architecture. The link of the previous video is available in the description box. Please check it. Now, in this video, we are going to see the characteristics of memory system. There are different parameters or characteristics of the memory systems. Let's see, memory exhibits perhaps the widest range of type, technology, organization, performance, and cost of any feature of computer system. The computer system has the different parameters or different characteristics. Let's see some of them here. The first one is location. Depending upon the location, the characteristics are or the parameters are differentiated as internal or external. The example of internal is processor registers, cache, main memory, and the example of external is optical disc, magnetic disc, and tapes, etc. The next one is capacity. It has two types, the number of words and number of bytes. The next one is unit of transfer. It also has two types, word transfer and block transfer. The next one is access method. It has total four types, sequential access method, direct access method, random access method, and associative access method. The next one is performance. It has three main parameters, access time, cycle time, and transfer rate. The next is physical type. There are mainly four types, semiconductor, magnetic, optical, and magneto-optical. The next one is physical characteristics. It has two types, volatile or non-volatile, erasable or non-erasable. And the last one is organization. It includes the memory modules. Let's see details of each parameter one by one. The first one is location. The location refers to whether the memory is internal or external. Internal memory is often equated with main memory. Processor requires its own local memory or registers. Cache is another form of internal memory. External memory consists of peripheral storage devices that are accessible to processor via input-output controllers. That means depending upon the locations, the memories are differentiated internal and external. The computer system has the internal memory as like registers, cache, etc. And it also has the external memories like hard disk drives, magnetic tapes, etc. The next parameter is capacity. The memory is typically expressed in terms of bytes or words. Common word lengths are 8, 16, and 32 bits. The next is unit of transfer. For internal memory, the unit of transfer is equal to the number of electrical lines into and out of the memory model. For external memory, the data are transferred in much larger units than a word, that means in the blocks. That means simply we can say that for internal memory, the data is transferred in the form of words. Okay, and for external memory, it transfer in the form of blocks. Okay, I hope you all understand this. The relationship between the length in bits A of an address and the number n of addressable unit is equal to 2 raised to A is equal to n. This equation we already seen in previous video. Now the fourth one is the method of accessing units of data. We seen that there are total four methods: sequential access method, direct access method, random access method, and associative method. Let's see. In sequential access method, the memory is organized into units of data called records. In direct access, it involves a shared read-write mechanism. In random access, each addressable location in memory has a unique physical wired in a addressing mechanism. And in associative method, a word is retrieved based on portion its contents rather than its address. Okay. The next parameter is in sequential access, access must be made in specific linear sequence. In direct access, individual blocks or records have unique address based on physical location. In random access, the time to access a given location is independent of the sequence of prior access and is a constant. And in associative method, each location has its own addressing mechanism and retrieval time is constant independent of location or prior access patterns. The next parameter is in sequential access, the access time is variable. In direct access, the access time is variable. In random access, any location can be selected at random and directly addressed and accessed. The example of sequential access is tape. The example of direct access is disk. The example of random access is main memory, that is RAM, and some cache system. And the example of associative access is cache memories. Now the next parameter is capacity and performance. The two most important characteristics of this memory, capacity and performance. Three performance parameters are used. First one is access time or latency. For random access memory or RAM, it is the time it takes to perform read and write operation. That means for RAM, we can say that the access time is the time take to perform read or write operation. And for non-random access memories, it is the time it takes to position the read-write mechanism at desired location. The next parameter is memory cycle time. The access time plus any additional time required before second access can commence. This is the memory cycle time. Let's see once again. The access time plus any additional time required before second access can commence. Additional time may be required for transients to die out and signal lines or to generate data if they were read destructively. Concern with the system bus, not the processor. And the last one is the transfer rate. The transfer rate is the rate at which the data can be transferred into or out of the memory unit. That means the time required to transfer data in or out is known as the transfer rate. For random access memory, it is equal to 1 per cycle in a time. The next one is physical type of memory. The most common forms are semiconductor memory or RAM, magnetic surface memory, that means disk or tapes, optical, that means CD and DVD, and magneto-optical. The next parameter is physical characteristics of data storage. First one is volatility or volatile memory. In volatile memory, information decays naturally or is lost when electrical power is switched off. And in non-volatile memory, once the information recorded, this information remains without damage until deliberately changed. That means there are mainly two types, volatile and non-volatile. In volatile memory, all the data is erased when the power is switched off, and in non-volatile memory, the data is retained whether the power is lost or switched off. Okay. No electrical power is needed to retain the information in non-volatile memory. Magnetic surface memories are non-volatile. Semiconductor memory may be either volatile or non-volatile. Next one is erasable. There are two types, erasable and non-erasable. Non-erasable memory cannot be altered except by destroying the storage unit. Semiconductor memory of this type is known as read-only memory or ROM. The next one is organization. The physical organization of bits to form words. For RAM, the organization is key design issue. These are the basic information about the parameters of the memory system. Now, let's see the today's important point, the memory hierarchy. What is the memory hierarchy? The memory in a computer can be divided into 5 hierarchies based on the speed as well as use. The processor can move from one level to the another level based on its requirements. The five hierarchies in memories are register, cache, main memory, magnetic disk, and magnetic tapes. The first three hierarchies are volatile memories. That means the registers, cache, and main memory are volatile memories, which mean when there is no power and then automatically they lose their stored data. Whereas the last two hierarchies, that means the magnetic disk and magnetic tapes, are non-volatile, which means they store the information permanently. Okay. Here, this is the memory hierarchy divided into five types: the register, cache memory, main memory, magnetic disk, and magnetic tapes. While upper threes are volatile and lower two are non-volatile. As we goes down, that means as we goes down, decreasing cost per bit, increasing capacity, increasing access time, decreasing frequency of access of the memory by the processor. That means as we goes down, it decreasing cost per bit. That means the register memory has highest cost than the magnetic tape. Similarly, increasing capacity. That means the magnetic tape has the highest capacity than the register, cache, main memory, or these magnetic disk, etc. Increasing access time. Here, as we goes down, the access time increases. That means the access time required for the register memory is less than that of the magnetic tapes. The next one is decreasing frequency of access. Here is the register's memory or cache memory requires more frequency of access than magnetic tapes, magnetic disk, etc. Okay. Let's see. Here is the another view of memory hierarchy, which has at the top register memory, cache memory, main memory, magnetic disk, and magnetic tapes. The register memory is also known as the level 0 memory. Cache memory has three levels: level 1, level 2, and a level 3. Then the main memory, magnetic disk, and magnetic tapes. The magnetic disk and magnetic tapes are called as auxiliary memory, and these are the primary memories. Okay, let's see. The auxiliary memory's access time is generally 1000 times that of main memory, hence it is at the bottom of hierarchy. The main memory occupies the central position because it equipped to communicate directly with CPU and with auxiliary memory device through input output processor. Okay, it has higher access time, hence it is at the bottom of the memory. The primary memory is at the center to communicate directly with the CPU and these auxiliary memory devices. Okay, now the cache memory is used to store the programs of data which is currently being executed in the CPU. That means in the CPU, the programs are executed and the data produced or the results are stored in this cache memory. It has three levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Approximately access time ratio between the cache memory and the main memory is about 1 to 7 or 10. The last one is, or at the top, the register. The registers are the memory units used to store the single bit results during the execution in the CPU. I hope you all understand the memory hierarchy. Let's see once again. This is in this memory hierarchy there are total 5 levels. First one is at the top, registers, then cache, main memory, magnetic disk, and magnetic tapes. The register memories are used to store the single bit results during the execution in CPU. When the program executes, its data is stored in cache memory. The main memory is in central to directly communicate with the CPU, and these three are the volatile types of memory, and these are also called as the inboard memory. The next one is the magnetic disk. It includes CD-ROM, CD-write, DVD-write, DVD, Blu-ray, etc. These are the auxiliary memories and which are the outboard storage. And the last one is magnetic tape, which are offline storage. These two are the non-volatile memories, and these three are the volatile types of memories. Now I hope you all understand the 5 levels of memory hierarchy and its use and operation. Thank you.